this is just my project for 18 Road Mosman, and this is just how I came about with doing the renderings and modeling of this house as close to possible as I could with the Revit that I had. And with this house, the first thing that I tried to incorporate was incorporating those BIM characteristics of planning the stage of the house first. So the first thing that the house had that was very complex was its topography, because it was nudged in between a mountain, which made it so that the parking spaces were on the second level and the entrance was on the first level going down. So the first thing that I had to take into consideration when planning was incorporating that aspect of the house, and then using the floor plan of the house that was given to me online. I used the scaling tools to make sure that the house was as close to realistic as possible. Yeah, this is one of the first stages of the design that I incorporated. And then the next stage of the design was, of course, overlaying that with the side plan and using those grid lines to make sure that I could transpose the first level to the second level to be as accurate as possible as well, because that dysfunction between the first level and the second level made it so that there was a possibility that there could be inaccuracies with the way that I modeled the house. So yeah, that's why grid lines were here. So when designing the house, because the house had a modern feel to it, I decided to incorporate a lot of birch wood and a lot of ceramic tiles, because they conveyed that modern feel as well as possible. So when designing the house, that was implemented, and I basically just used the standard brick veneer and timber walls with and made sure to edit all those structural elements to make sure that it closely resembled what it had on the floor plan, to make sure that it was a simple design all throughout, because the more simplistic it was, the more easy it was to convey other characteristics around the house. And then the next stage of that house that I built was the building phase. So it was like a down to top phase. So obviously we started with the topography, and then we moved on to the first floor. So in the first floor, the whatever the walls, floor, windows, and doors required of that floor were created. Then on the second floor, and then on the roofing. And then when those key components were made, the final stage was introducing those intricate details. So the pools, the balcony, the steel canopy that you can see on that image as well. All those things, it was creating the simple aspects first, so then the complexity could come in as well. And then the operation of the design for the phases, the operation was basically, I tried to document the house as well as I could with a different array of elevations and sheets to represent what the different complexities and characteristics of the house had, as you can see in the drawings there. And the more level of detail that I implemented, the more I feel like I conveyed the house in its most realistic form. So another building and modeling concept that I incorporated in my design was during my families, and it was through their level of detail. So with my families, they started out as simplistic shapes and as simplistic models, so that it was easy to put parameters when editing the families and make sure those parameters were working. But once I made sure those parameters were working, I could start focusing on that level of development. So making sure that they could have a little bit of curve. So as you can see in one of the couches, they're not just sharp edges, they're more like curved edges. So just incorporating that increased level of complexity that I incorporated as I went on kind of transpired itself into couches that you see here. But obviously there is a lot of room to create more complex and more interesting features that I think in more in-depth development I could incorporate in a future design. In final comments, 18 Road had its complexities with its topography, but I think that using the BIM principles, I managed to creatively convey those complexities and characteristics in a very engaging manner. Thank you.